Hi everyone, welcome again. My name is Mukul. I'm from the product management team here at BrowserStack, and I am really excited today to welcome you all to the presentation or our webinar on AI-powered quality engineering at scale. Uh, it's a hot topic, right? About AI and how quality strategies are changing, are not changing. Happy to have that discussion. But that's where we thought we will talk more about. We also have our guest speaker, and he would like to share his experiences around AI and quality engineering and what kind of observations he has. So that's where this topic, today's discussion, will lead to. Some housekeeping items. Today's session will run for 45 minutes approximately. We definitely would have a lot of interaction. We would like to make this as a conversation. So please feel free to put down your questions, your observations, your suggestions in the chat. And me and Abhishek would take it and we could have that discussion possibly at the end. We have a dedicated QA session at the end as well. All the participants will be muted so as we can have a smooth discussion on the topic. And but please rest assured, we will take up your questions and we will have a healthy discussion about your suggestions or your questions. And of course, this is one of the question which comes up regularly, right? The session will get recorded and all the participants will get the recording for the discussions which we are having today. Okay. A final nudge. Feel free to put your questions on the chat, or you have any opinion, feel free to put it on the chat, and we will discuss more on that. Okay. So with that things discussed, let's jump on to the topic. And before that, let me just call out who I am and of course who our guest speaker today is. So just reiterating again, my name is Mukul. I'm from the product management team here at BrowserStack. I look into the automation products at BrowserStack. I'm really curious always to know how QAs are defining the quality, right? What does it take to automate products? How efficient can we make their experience to automate products? What are their pain points? And me and my team here at BrowserStack are working towards trying to solve those particular challenges and make those experiences much more efficient and much more productive from a QS perspective. So that's where all our attention goes through, and we build products around that. I have along with me today our expert Abhishek Das from Elsevier. Abhishek, over to you for a quick introduction.
Thank you, Mukul. Hey everyone, I'm Abhishek. I'm currently working as a quality engineering manager at Elsevier Health. Here I manage a diverse team of energetic QEs where we work together to manage, deliver quality solutions that enhance healthcare solutions or outcomes across multiple product lines. So my journey has always been fueled by the passion for innovation, precision, and a relentless pursuit of quality, which I bring to every project I usually undertake. So I'm here excited to be here today to share my insights from my experiences. And thank you so much for the opportunity to introduce myself, Mukul.
Great. Good to have you, Abhishek, and really looking forward to learning from you, from your experiences, and hope the entire audience feels the same. Great. So what are we going to talk about today, right? We just did our introductions. Abhishek will share more about what he is going to deep dive into, and he will take the discussion through. But it's going to be around the QA strategies, why we have a need of changing the QA strategy, improving on it, and what Abhishek is seeing, what the industry is seeing today in terms of the changes, the evolving changes, the evolving expectations from the QA. With that, how can the quality performance be improved? What are the changes which are happening by which the performance would improve and more efficiency can be brought in? While we do that, I will then also come in and start and share my thoughts around what I see from the BrowserStack side, where the industry is heading, what kind of changes do we see in quality. I will also share an automate demo just to share about how QAs can use Automate to integrate their automation suite with BrowserStack products. I also share insights about what BrowserStack is doing in AI initiatives, and then we will open it up for QA. Great. I see numbers filling in, users are responding to it. The whole idea of the discussion is how AI is actually creating an impact in building QA strategies, right? So that's one of the questions which even I wanted to pose to Abhishek. Abhishek, what do you think? Is AI creating impact? Do you see it is already happening, or it's not such a major factor when it comes to building QA strategies? What do you think about it? Would like to know more about it from you.
Definitely, Mukul. If you just ask me this question particularly, I would say obviously yes, and they are. It is already happening. Let's say if we look around ourselves, right, we would see a large number of legacy applications which are now being integrated with AI, just for being more customer friendly. Versus there are AI tools which are being developed every day, being published into the market, which actually performing the same jobs. A quick example, if I would share, let's say the search engine, right, the Google search that eventually we use. Previously, it was just about typing a question and searching. It would pop up a list of URLs where we can go and understand. Right now Google has integrated Gemini with it. You ask a question, Gemini compiled together all the list and feed it to the very first point when you see in the search. Versus if you see ChatGPT search, which Perplexity, which are actually doing the same job with all the references lined down together. So now there is a common drastic difference whether your legacy application need to be integrated with AI for being more customer friendly versus the tools which are actually being developed considering with the generative AI or different other AI models to perform the same task. So in terms of QA, if I understand, like in the current market, the expectation of QAs has been drastically shifted. Now we are no longer about simply finding bugs during the sprint, highlight it to the developers, fix it, retest it, or blindly automate all the possible combinations that are available. Today, we are expected to be more strategic partners, delivering quality, speed, and scale into the increasingly complex environments. So we are not restricted front end and back end, but now QEs are also being involved in digital accessibility testing, performance, observability, deployments across mobile, web, backend. So it's like a full scale ecosystem that the QEs are currently working now. And if I consider at Elsevier, we have been on this transformative journey, moving beyond the traditional automation practices to explore the power of generative AI so that we can meet these evolving demands at space, and we need to implement this mindfully. So the main principle that I work on, or particularly we strategized, is about scalability, consistency, maintainability, and availability. So these are the core principles that we consider in terms of accepting a new complex challenge at Elsevier. Over to you, Mukul.
Got it. Got it. This is great, and really good insights. The example which you gave about Gemini, right? That kind of, I mean, we see that on a daily basis, on a regular basis, in our day-to-day experiences as well, on how things are changing. Great to know. And with that, Abhishek, you want to take it forward, explaining your thoughts, your views about this topic?
Definitely. So a very common question these days works around for the quality engineers, right? It's about AI in testing versus testing AI. What actually we are doing. So there will be a set of engineers who are actually working with the legacy applications, which are transforming with the AI use case. And there is AI tools which are producing a grateful content for the users, which also need to be tested. So we have two dynamic things into the picture. Simply moving from our legacy application, integrating with AI versus a completely new AI tool is being developed. It means there is a huge lot of complexities are being created. And if we consider the current market, we consider it as Industrial Revolution 4 now, because we are now into the integration of advanced technologies into businesses, aiming to enhance, efficiency, productivity, and flexibility. So business are definitely leveraging technologies like IoT, AI, and robotics, to create intelligent solutions and optimize the overall operations of the process. Now, if you have this type of complex scenarios where products are evolving every day, every new things are coming to the picture. So we need a new mindset of quality engineers then. We cannot be no longer restricted ourselves to just testing features. We need to ensure the resilience and agility of the entire product ecosystem. So this is where the expectation for speed and adaptability is a key observation that actually we need to integrate, and also we have to move across our products. Now, coming to the complexity, how would you jump to that complexity? This is where the second question comes in, like, how do we understand the problem versus propose a solution, and how a better business agility, if it is with us, we can solve a problem more better. Let's say rather than we shallow understand the problem and propose a solution, it is more curious and it is more important these days that we now need to prioritize a deeper understanding of the underlying business problem, understanding the business expectations on what exactly we need to deliver. This is something very crucial now. So the expectations from the QEs has simply shifted from reporting defects or to proactively proposing quality-driven solutions. And it is crucial for achieving the business agility that today's market demand. Like, we need to deliver value faster without compromising the quality.
Got it. That's an interesting one, Abhishek. You mentioned about this shift in perspective, right? I mean, instead of understanding of the problem, we need to think more broadly and possibly think about different solutions. From your experience in your organization, based on the work which you have done, any practical examples which you can share where this is how QAs used to work earlier and this is how they do it now for better productivity, for better output? Any real life examples you can share here?
Definitely. So we have a wide lines of products basically, and there is one of our product which I definitely would try to highlight here, which is being used by clinicians worldwide, which supports them in terms of generating ideas, and what exactly the details they require. So it's a very complex in the sense because it has multiple flavors of that product. It can be accessed via web. It can be accessed via mobile browse. It has a native application. It has a AI-enabled product also. Purpose the line. It means the QEs not only perform regression testing, or let's say the functional testing across these, we have to be also part of the accessibility, let's say European Accessibility Act. If your product is actually into the European market, this is where the standard we need to enforce by June 28th, I guess so. And it means the QEs also need to be learning this accessibility part, understanding the performance criteria between this. So there are a huge number of nitty-gritty problems that comes in when you have same flavors of different products, and how we need to go to solve this, right? How we need to understand. So this is where there are few fundamental things that we need to consider. How do we need to solve the problem? How we need to make the decision? Have we understood the inferring context behind it? Are we able to leverage proper tools? And finally, are we able to deliver results? So combinations of all these 5 or 6 important things, we need to deliver a solution. This is, we say, rethink the problem. Possibly we need to rethink multiple times just to make sure our conclusion is aligned to the business problem.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So basically, improving or broaden your perspective, think from all the angles. I think that's the insight, or that's the mantra which you are hinting towards. Sure.
Definitely. Now coming a very interesting topic, like we always like, how do we say AI? It's like artificial intelligence. For me, I always believe AI as an awesome investigator. It actually helps us to solve a problem in multiple ways. It guides you as a mentor. Let's say in a complex landscape, like as I told, we have multiple products. People have multiple products. Even we consider Facebook, it also has multiple flavors, as I told. It means that landscape is complex. Multiple people can log into an application from multiple ways, but it keeps unique identification, right? So in this let's say complex landscape, how do we need to effectively move through it? So we need smarter tools and approaches. So this is where AI actually comes in. let's say you think AI is an awesome investigator, which provides us, unprecedented capabilities to analyze data, identify different patterns, explore different avenues for ensuring quality at scale with greater accessibility. So it's about strategically leveraging AI to augment our own intelligence, not just adopting blindly. So we don't know how the AI model has been trained for a complex problem. We can ask a problem, definitely, but we are never sure whether the AI has already been trained on this particular problem set. It will give you a set of guidelines. So we cannot blindly accept anything from AI, but we can leverage the AI power, to augment our own intelligence, and then you take a decision whether it is actually correct, whether it's aligned to the business problem, is it really solving our problem? So it helps you to investigate a problem, support you through the overall process rather than blindly copy pasting it or taking it in your code or the strategy document or anything. We have to think with our own experiences. The next part, like if we are asking about AI, what is the thing that we focus on? This is a very great question, the coming for development or QE or different things. Every day you get a new tool has been developed, which is supporting generating code, doing merging the PRs and multiple things. Then should we learn to code or we should stop learning, or should we focus on different things? So the thing that I have been into more perspective is about, rather than completely focus on on code, or let's say a fundamental shift on our skill set and mindset, we need to focus more on learning to build. You have AI with you, you have the fundamental understanding with you. What And a very important thing that is with you is your experience, the experience that you learn from different issues that you face together over the past years in a business problems or projects that you worked in. So when you define a complex or a comprehensive testing strategy or a framework, we need to apply our human craftsmanship, possibly to think critically. We are domain expertise if you're working in a domain, and we have to understand the business requirement so that we can strategically leverage this technology, including AI, to build a truly high quality products. It means the whole framework lies around our craftsmanship, where AI can definitely help you out to live to move it faster, deliver it faster, make it more strong in terms of multiple robust issues or ideas that can be fixed. So it also leverages us. Uh, it also leverages us to get different, scopes and multiple things. So that's how I think AI is actually helping us. The final one that we have initiated in the very first stage, it's about, how do we move from traditional or legacy application versus a newly evaluated product? So there are a spectrum of thoughts, that comes around us, and it actually blocks us in defining our testing strategy. So like many organizations at Elsevier also, we have experienced the spectrum of thoughts or spectrum of perspectives when it comes to defining our testing strategy. So we need to balance the robustness of traditional approaches with the agility of newly developing strategically points. And we have to carefully consider and understand where we need to evolve, which area we need to fix, and how we need to re-strategize the thing. So this is where a strategic approach to leverage new AI technologies becomes crucial. Okay, it helps us to minimize the gap and define a future-proof testing strategy. As I told, the very first thing, like we have a product which having multiple flavors. It means the strategy that we are putting for web cannot be implemented completely for mobile, cannot be implemented completely for the AI version that has been generated. So everywhere the strategy is being different. And again, the backend, which work as a core heart of that product, it need to be strategized differently. So the strategy have the base foundation as constant, but we have to rethink. We can leverage AI to rethink and how we need to solve the problem. And it makes our life easier. Possibly like it gives you more ideas how we need to solve the problem, and we can leverage further.
Got it.
That's all the points, Nicole.
Abhishek, curious to know something about this. So you mentioned about balancing between the traditional approach and also bringing in the new AI-driven methodology or AI approach, right?
Yeah.
Any insights on how should we balance it better? Like, Are there any things where we should continue the traditional way when we form our strategies? Any insights on that from your personal experience about how well can we balance this?
Um, Balancing is a, it's a rigid, we cannot say it's a rigid guideline that we need to follow. The follow is like we need to work with the flow. What's the expectations currently the product has, how exactly we need to align to the different points that is coming to us. So the strategy can remain as a foundation, but we need to think what exactly we need to deliver, what is expected from the quality that we need to part of, what are the tools that is available with us that we can leverage and resolve those problems, and finally deliver a very high quality output. So things comes in, but we need to proactively and dynamically think twice or multiple times to get to a problem. That's how I think we try to balance it up when a different or a new complex issue comes to us.
Got it. Got it. Makes sense.
So the last slide that I eventually discussed how to balance the robustness of different things that is coming to us. For me, a very key fundamental things, I went through multiple documentation. I definitely go through a lot of papers, how I need to think about changing complexity into the testing phase or development phase. One of the very key principle, or I would say theory that really helped me is about the vector theory of change. It really helped me to understand or go through or navigate through a dynamic landscape. So our journeys isn't about a straight line where we have rigid plans. Hence, we embrace the vector theory of change mechanism because it is very essential in a very complex and dynamic environment where it actually guides you that uh, we need to focus on a general direction and where we wanted to move in. It means we need to adapt our automation strategy to continuous shift in technology and business needs rather than fixating on a specific on an immutable blueprint. So the vector theory of change gives you the idea how we need to think, strategize in a complex environment, and how we need to draft our strategies so that we can define how much automation is required, how much manual things are required, how much different things that we need to integrate to solve a multiple complex set of web problems. This is where the theory has really helped me out.
Makes sense.
The second thing about automation, which is the most crucial thing for in a particular day to deliver faster products, releases, and everything. And we really work on a strategy of automation foundation principles. What exactly this really defines us in Elsevier. So to support this adaptable approach, this complex approach, we build our automation frameworks on three core foundation principles: scalability, consistency, and maintainability. How well we can scale our automation framework or growing test suites, we can say, across diverse platforms. Are we consistent in generating the results and execution? Third is how well we can maintain this with a rapid development cycle, and how available is our test infrastructure to support the different requirements. It could be ad hoc release, it could be sprint-wise release, it could be in daily deployment, on-demand release, anything. Is our test suite can maintain? So these three key factors, basically, majority of the test frameworks which are available in the market somewhere lies behind these three fundamental principles. And if we have these fundamental principles clear, definitely we have matured our automation efforts. Now, the point that I would be discussing, like a universal design concept. As I told, we have a complex landscape. Probably many products are going through complex landscape. What is the most essential need of the hour is a robust framework. The framework where we don't need to switch multiple times. Let's say UI have a different front end, back end have a different, mobile have a different. If we have different flavors of test automation frameworks, it's hard to maintain. And this is where we lose our scalability or consistency. The thing that we adopt in Elsevier, we specifically work with WebDriver IO framework. Now, it is a key enabler for us in adoption of universal framework. Why? Like this is actually built, it's a flexible and a JavaScript based framework, which has a very essential enrich NPM packages, which can be integrated very easily. And it really supports the different flavors of testing. We use it for our functional automation regression. We use it for our backend. We use for different non-functional like performance integrated with K6, API automation also, that is with Chai HTTPS, and even accessibility. So whenever there are different challenges comes in, we would require a single versatile framework that enhances consistency and accelerate different development across type. I'm not saying like none of the other frameworks can do the same thing. We have Playwright, we have different, but something which is adaptable by us and it can help you out to test different types of testing within the same instead of learning a new thing. That really helps you to minimize your headaches, right? So one of the key factors in this is also there. Keep a single, simple, robust framework which doesn't define you to learn multiple things so that you can focus on different areas and you can tweaks into the existing framework to get your things done.
Got it. Just to pitch in from my side, right, from a product perspective, even we see similar things. Like, although we see different frameworks getting used, Playwright is something which gets used nowadays as well. But at the same time, WebDriver IO usage is well. So I second your thoughts in terms of the usage of WebDriver IO. We see that getting used consistently by many of our customers. So just thought of sharing some insights from my side.
That's very good. So I know, like, I don't want to jump into the, a war on like which framework is better. Possibly whichever suits you and whichever
Exactly.
helps you to go to the dynamic testing landscape, use that. So, and we need to keep our fundamentals and the understanding clear. We can work on any framework if your fundamentals are clear. We know what exactly we need to do, how we need to design your page object model, how well you need to integrate. So that's how it works.
Makes sense. Yep.
Okay. The other part, a very crucial, which actually now evolves into the testing landscape, is about test observability. You know, how well or how early we react so that we can proactively fix the issues. So moving beyond a reactive bug finding means we are into the sprint, we are testing a user stories, we found it a bug, and we put it together. Or we are waiting for, it sits ticket, a production issue that comes in, then we need to go to fix. This is where we heavily invested on test observability so that we can react early to any of the potential issues and try to prevent a leakage. Since the complexity of the products increases, observability plays a key factor here. One of the key thing, I would say like BrowserStack, it actually has a very amazing test observability dashboard, which gives us a very comprehensive reports about cross-browser testing, different devices we tested, flakiness, possibly the unique defects that are there, and also let's say many of our scripts failed or something. It gives you a video approach where we would see where exactly this got failed. So instead of going and identifying using the X path in our LO report or any of the reports, we can go to the dashboard. We can see the video where exactly this got failed. Is it a script issue? Is it a functional issue? That actually help us, to minimize our manual effort that is required to solve the problems introduced into the day-to-day regression, that activity that we do, or a sanity activity. So BrowserStack really help us in this comprehensive testing, and it also leveraged us test in the different flavors of products. We run our mobile, we run our web, we run accessibility, particularly everything over there. And this really gives us generate reports and fix it. The second part is about New Relic. We also use New Relic for our performance insights. We use Pendo for behavioral analytics. We use Cloudflare for network visibility, CodeQL for security analysis. Now, QAs, rather than sticking to it, we move around with different observability tools, which can give us one kind of generative insights. And the major pillars of observability, we consider the three pillars of observability, is about metrics, traces, and logs, so that it gives us a 360-degree view of our quality of the product. So set up any observability, let's say synthetic monster, New Relic, run it on every 5 minutes on production. Definitely, if any issues comes in, it will definitely helps you out. Also, this metrics, let's say we use Pendo to refine our testing lineup. Uh, the number of applications that are, or a functionality into the application which are maximum hit by the users, we use this data to redefine our smoke test suite. Like what are the test cases should be there into the smoke or the sanity test suite, which are actually being used highest by the users. Uh, so this is where Pento helps in. New Relic helps in to get the statistics, what is the most consumed data, where the CPU utilization goes high, which functionality actually getting impacted because of the issues. Or code key will help us in fixing the security concerns of our code. And network visibility, like how is there any response delays there from the server to the customers. So overall, we use a set of this specified observability tools to refine and refine our automation criteria, fixes, changes, so that we are always into the current market trend.
That's great to know, Abhishek. And it kind of whatever you spoke, right, in terms of observability and identifying what your users are using. And I'm also going to talk about that in my later slide. But it kind of fits well into the three principles which you mentioned earlier, the scalability and especially the consistency and maintainability. Like
Yes.
you can achieve consistency and maintainability only when you do these things right?
Yes.
How can you reduce flakiness? You possibly mentioned about using BrowserStack tools, observability tools to identifying defects, reduce flakiness, etc. So thanks for sharing those insights. We now really understand how doing these basic principles or doing these basic checks are fitting into your foundation principles. Thanks for that.
Definitely. Yep. That's definitely a use case for us and really help us for the quality engineering team to go through this. And we are evolving, we are learning new things, and we are using them to refine our overall process. Uh, the next part, like as I told, we discussed on a lot of observability, is about continuous improvement. We are always aware about CI/CD, continuous integration and deployment. The term that I coin is about continuous improvement. We need to eliminate the leakage in our decisions. Like so, our journey in Elsevier was one of the continuous improvement practices that we do. So we actively use these KPIs and insights from our observability stack to make proactive data-driven decisions so that it would eliminate the leakage throughout the delivery process or the pipelines. So the thing that I would emphasize here, this isn't about automation. It should be about a feedback that constantly refines our process and improves product quality based on real-time data. We have to refine. We need feedback, and how well we can crucially fix all the nitty-gritty issues so that it gives us always the best output. And this is where we depend on. So if your framework is good, if your automation test suites are robust, comprehensive, gives you the data very fast, it helps you to reduce a lot of manual work. We try to focus on that because to work on different stages of work along the whole pipeline or the deployment process or the SDLC process, we need something which supports us in parallel to us. This is where I always focus on continuous improvement. We need to improve not only in automation, but our day-to-day activities in testing that we actually do. So that's how it works for us. Finally, the most important topic about this whole process about abstraction, like what we need to focus on how this intelligent automation can be effective for us. So it's a very critical aspect of the advanced automation that we are working on, and how integrating AI can leverage or fix or support us in taking better decisions or better fixing. So we need to focus on understanding first how each component does and how do they interact. So if we ever people have worked on databases, there is a concept that we always seen, one-to-one interaction, one-to-many, many-to-one. These are all RDBMS principles, how actually this interact with each other. This is something a web that we need to understand the interaction, how the overall flow works, and how the implementation of the architecture design has been there, and how QA can fit it into the overall things, where the things that we can support and how we can support, right? In the current use case, if I go with the agentic AI concept, like what the flow that we observe usually, we have a PRT, the UX team designs the designs on Figma, then we do the refinement along with us, the development does, we do the testing, it is being deployed, and we use observability to see whether the functionality is actually running well and smooth in the production. Now, to design an intelligent and resilient automation frameworks, AI can be a very helpful for us because it can guide you, gives you multiple thoughts or multiple areas where we need to fix, how we need to leverage, how we can generate meaningful reports, how we need to reduce flakiness, or how do we understand what exactly the list of scenarios or critical scenarios to be pulled in. So AI is just like a support for us, like an employee for us who knows everything, who gives you an idea, assist you to go through the things. And if we call about like in the current scenario, there are two terms are being coined: agentic AI versus generative AI. Generative AI can gives you the output based on the input, and it gives you all the ideas, but it cannot perform as an action. This is where agentic AI kicks in. It can perform an action. So let's say I have been going through two of the tools very recently. One is code-based to tutorial. What it does is it actually go through your GitHub repository, create a tutorial for you if you're not able to understand. This is like an agentic AI, which gives you an overall explanation or a video explanation. What is this repository done? It means you don't need to invest a lot of time going the understanding the nitty-gritty of the new repository, a new person who joins into the team or a product. This is where our, let's say we have Copilot, we have Amazon Q developer who gives a AI powered assistant to solve different coding problems within the every day to day when you're working on, generate suggestions, it do your code analyze and say these are the issues that you can fix, or maybe this is a complexity issues. Probably AI is actually around us from the QB perspective. We cannot say like AI is going to remove or AI going to impact us. We need to embrace AI and we need to leverage our productivity. The term that we say 10x productivity, it can be different for different people, but we need to leverage them so that we can deliver faster quality, and improved way of thinking the process and deliver a very specific relationship. So that's for all my end, Mukul, all the points that I have highlighted.
Great, great. Thank you so much. And I really liked how beautifully you explained about agentic AI and generative AI, right? How it can help in which phase exactly, and how users can actually leverage it. So yeah, thanks for sharing those insights and thanks for sharing what you have done, what tools do you use in your organization, and what kind of AI tools did you try recently. So thanks for sharing all those details. Uh, Okay, so moving on, I also wanted to kind of talk about what we see from the BrowserStack side, right? Where we see QA responsibility evolving. More than QA, it is about how the entire software development lifecycle changing, right? How the shift left strategy is happening. That's where I wanted to also spend a few minutes. To our amazing audience, feel free to put your suggestions or questions on chat, and we will soon be taking a look at the questions and responding to it. So feel free to do that while I start my discussion. Okay, so the foremost topic which I wanted to bring in is kind of give you a sense of how QA used to happen traditionally, right? Traditionally, in the waterfall model, the product used to get built, uh, and it used to come to the QAs. The QAs used to test it, log bugs, and if the build is satisfactory, then it used to get released. Otherwise, the entire cycle used to kind of repeat itself. So it was definitely not efficient if we look at how things have changed in the due course. What now happens is that because of the shift left strategy, which essentially means that how can we identify critical issues as early as possible. And early here means really early, right? As soon as the code is written, can we do something wherein the code gets tested, the critical use cases which we have get tested, and we identify whether the changes which the developers have done, are they fine, or are they breaking any critical use cases, any critical flows? And that's where the QAs come into picture now. They are no longer gatekeepers, but they are enablers of faster release to production, right? And the way we see that happening is that SDETs are coming into the picture. They are working with the developers to identify what changes are happening, how can they, or they help the developers or they themselves write code to test the code as soon as possible. And it is not just I'm referring to API level testing, but I'm also referring to UI level testing, right? We see that every time a PR is merged, it goes through UI automation. Uh, Imagine this. Earlier in a traditional scene, the entire build used to get built. It used to come to the QA team, manual testing would happen, and the automation regression suite used to happen. That continues even today. But at the same time, can we take it to the next level where every PR which the developer is submitting gets through the automation? And only when the automation passes, only then the PR gets merged and only then it gets proceeded ahead. If we have to do this, and there are of course many organizations who have reached this level as well, thanks to a lot of automation tools, a lot of automation solutions which are available today. But if we have to reach to this level, the scale which we are looking at is very different. And QAs, SDETs becomes the enablers to do this. And directly or indirectly, they are helping in releasing the product in a much stable way and in a much faster way. So this is a critical observation which we see today, where things are moving to the left, which we call as the shift left strategy. Now, to achieve this, let's think about what all is needed, right? If we have to achieve this shift left strategy, if we have to work at this high scale, what all is needed? You need to have your infrastructure ready to match this scale. Imagine changing from a monolithic system driven testing for the entire product, which of course happens even today, but also to add to it, do this PR level testing, right? Or any other testing. You need to have a massive scale at which you can do your testing. And that too, of course, I need not say this, but you need to do this very quickly. It has to be time efficient, right? Now, when you do this, you in a idealistic way, you would try to test it on each and every device, each and every OS, each and every variation. But is it really efficient? And again, that's where the point which Abhishek mentioned earlier, we need to identify where are our users, what are the OSs, what are the devices on which they are using the product. And we can take some insights from there and use those or prioritize those OSs, those devices, those browsers on which we can do our testing. So that's why identifying the devices, the OSs become very important on which the testing can happen. The final piece here is after you do all your testing, debugging becomes critical. And we saw how Abhishek talked about it in a very prominent way, where he maintained that, hey, debugging is really important to reduce the flakiness, to bring consistency to automation, and to have a maintainable code and maintainable strategy. That's where having a good debugging tool also becomes important. When I say good debugging tool, it should allow you to go through the failures, go through the or identify patterns because of which there are failures coming in, and what all things, what all information are required to you to achieve this. Those are the things which are required by the QAs or the SDETs to achieve consistent automation with good debugging capabilities. Uh, to get this right, BrowserStack provides multiple solutions. And today I wanted to quickly spend few minutes to give you a very simple demo of how BrowserStack Automate helps you to achieve exactly the same. You might be using BrowserStack Automate, you may not be using BrowserStack Automate. But in case you have your automation suite out there, even if it is not connected to BrowserStack Automate, I wanted to spend few minutes to kind of showcase to you how straightforward it is, follow documentation, and how straightforward it is to integrate your automation suite to BrowserStack Automate and then run your automation on BrowserStack's infrastructure. Of course, BrowserStack also allows you to run your automation suite on your own infrastructure as well. So those are the different possibilities which are available when you use BrowserStack tools. But without wasting your any time, let me just shift to a demo which I had already prepared, and I have a link here with me. And I'll take few minutes to explain you how this can be done. So what you see here right now is BrowserStack Automate. I have a recording. So there's a disclaimer that I have already recorded it to save time, but I will of course walk you through on what exactly it is. So I have logged in into BrowserStack Automate. This is a quick integration guide which is shown to you. This is important because you could have your automation with so many different frameworks, so many different languages, right? So it easily allows you to select the language and framework of your own choice, and then simply move forward and use the quick automation guide and use the step-by-step approach to take it forward. Here, what I'm showing you is the automation suite, a simple automation suite, which I already have using Selenium and TestNG. It has not been integrated with Automate at this point of time. It has its regular files. You can see the pom.xml, testng.xml. I'll quickly show you the folder structure which it has. And this is a very basic folder structure. No surprises here. The test folder has two test files which I have created. The first one, or this one, checks the browser page title, and the other one which I have checks for the button title. So those are the simple tests which I have added in my automation suite. From here, if I just move forward, I'll come back to the quick integration guide, which I was talking about, right? So if you come to this one, it gives you a step-by-step approach of how you can actually create a sample project from BrowserStack and use it. But in our case right now, I will jump onto this integrate your test suite. So this step-by-step guide now allows you to integrate your own automation suite, which I just now showed you with BrowserStack. Of course, there are multiple options you can use. I'm going to use the CLI option here. It has these step 1, step 2, step 3. There are, I think, 3 to 4 steps which you can follow. The first one, of course, is how do you connect your automation suite with BrowserStack account, right? So for that, you need to set your BrowserStack credentials. And that's what I will go forward and do here in the next steps, where I will set the environment variable with my username and access key. That's what you will see now. Once that happens, I move on to the next step where I follow the steps, install the BrowserStack SDK. Now, this is really useful because BrowserStack SDK is one utility which allows you to configure so many different capabilities or use cases in a very easy way. So automation is not just about functional automation or cross-browser device testing, right? It is also about possibly accessibility testing, visual testing. Do you need to enable different logs? So all those configurations you can very easily do in the YML file, which gets generated as a part of the SDK installation. So that's why the SDK installation is a step which I also showed you. After that, it becomes very easy. This is how now the automation suite is now integrated with the Automate tool. I simply move forward. There are certain configurations which you can do in the YML file. You can set your project name. You can set the build name based on which the automation is going to run. Let's wait for this to complete. And then, very interestingly, you can also configure the platforms on which you want to test it. Remember, we were saying that it is not about testing it everywhere, but it is about testing where your audience is. And YML file allows you to configure on which OS, on which browsers do you want to test your automation suite. Depending on the number of parallels which you have, you can actually now start testing in parallel. So the test will start running or getting executed in parallel. You can have your BrowserStack local true or false. You can enable or disable the debug logging, network logs, etc. And then enable or run your automation. So let me jump forward. And now that's it. The last step is simply about running your automation the way you will always do. So I'm hitting the automation command, and with that, the automation would complete. So yeah, just wanted to show you how straightforward it is to use your existing automation suite and integrate that with BrowserStack. Once that happens, you start seeing your automation runs here inside Automate, and you could then click on the exact sessions which are running in. You could debug, you could check all the logs. Remember, in the YML file, we enabled different logs. So all those logs you see on the right-hand side. You also see a video video of the steps of the recording which has happened of your test execution. So all those things can also be seen as a part of this automate dashboard. So yes, that's a quick demo which I wanted to kind of present to you. And then moving on, as a last step, I also wanted to talk to you about the changes or the new initiatives which BrowserStack is driving in terms of automate AI, right? So as Abhishek was highlighting, flakiness is something which is really, really crucial from a QA's perspective. And Automate has just released AI self-healing capability, which allows users to kind of proceed with their automation, even if there are frequent UI updates onto their front ends. Typically, I'm sure QAs would understand this better, is that when there are UI updates onto the front ends, because certain elements are not found on the HTML pages, the automation fails. Now, all that can be avoided very intelligently because of the self-healing capability. How it helps or how it works is that the AI finds alternative attributes within milliseconds while the test is happening. And hence, there are no failures, but instead, the automation will proceed and BrowserStack will let you know after the testing is done that AI or self-heal kicked in into this particular test case. So that is how the users know that self-healing kicked in, and there are certain changes in the UI elements, but those were taken care by the AI. This definitely helps in improving the overall time to release, right? Because you don't need to work on failures, you don't need to debug and fix them, but AI is helping you to fix them in a quick way and proceeding with your automation. So we really believe that AI self-heal would really help you to make your automation much more efficient. And with such things, there are so many more AI initiatives which BrowserStack tools are working on as we speak. So yeah, that's some perspective which even I wanted to share from my side. And let me possibly stop sharing and take any particular questions in case you have any. I see a question from Kritika where she's mentioning about any AI tool that we can use as a part of manual or automation testing. So yes, there are multiple AI tools today, and I think what's critical is to identify what's your use case and what are the top areas where you believe AI can help you, and identify the tool in that manner. One example which I gave you just now is about self-heal, right? Where even we received this feedback and we believe that self-heal can really help you to uh, fix any particular HTML based issues and help you to go out and release your product in a much efficient way, in a much faster way. But of course, there could be so many different other use cases where you could explore different other AI tools as well. How does AI can be integrated into existing test automation frameworks? So I will give BrowserStack's perspective here, Vijay Kumar. The From a BrowserStack perspective, as I gave you a quick introduction about self-healing, you don't need to do anything from the automation perspective, right? You can very easily integrate your automation suite with tools like BrowserStack, and then BrowserStack can intelligently understand the changes which are happening and can provide you either better debugging information or better insights based on AI, right? So that's why you don't need to do any particular integration with the AI tools when it comes to BrowserStack Automate. But Abhishek, from a AI perspective or AI tools perspective, in case you have any insights or suggestions.
As you highlighted already, there are many. Possibility it depends like which one you try to use. One of the key feature that we use in Elsevier is about the GitHub Copilot. It actually helps us to generates a lot of suggestion, again, recreating the test scenarios, not to a complete extent, we would say we use, but it actually enhance our productivity. So ask a question, puts a prompt, and it helps you down the line when you are coding. So probably this is one of the tools, but there are many. There is Amazon Q Coder. There are different tools which are available outside, but it depends to the person or the QE who are actually working on it and how well or how how important, how crucial that they can add that code to their existing framework. So it depends on case to case basis and on our own understanding about the scenario.
Makes sense. Great. I see multiple questions around different AI tool suggestions, and as Abhishek mentioned, he kind of shared which AI tool do they use into their organization. Uh, as just reiterating that it really depends on the use case, right? What use case are you trying to solve? And you could look for the AI tools in that particular manner. BrowserStack definitely supports AI capabilities when it comes to debugging, as I explained you in terms of self-healing. And there are definitely more new things which would keep coming from BrowserStack. Abhishek, anything you want to iterate on testing AI-based applications specifically? Do you want to give any particular insights or tips around how AI-based applications can be tested?
Yes, I think that's a very good question. Probably we have a very similar product where it's a completely conversational search-based product, which is completely with AI. Now there are two key aspects for the QEs, right? Are you going to test the AI model? Like you wanted to test the hallucination, biasness, latency of the respective responses, performance of this. What's the content it is generating, whether it is sufficient or a functionality. So we need to create a test objective or a scenario. What are the requirements that we need to test? Particularly for our organization, we have a separate tool, but we have a team of SMEs who are actually well known what's the content is getting generated. We have our data scientist who actually knows about what is the actual responses or latency or the biasness or hallucination is getting created. So there are different tools which can help you with this. But as a QE team, we first test about the functionality. We check about the performance of the AI tool with us similar approaches only. We little bit go around what's the output it is generating, whether it is significant for the thing, because we never know as a clinicians what did we expect. QE cannot learn everything, but we need to understand whether the response that is generated is that consists of multiple key terms, which we asked into the question. So it depends to case basis. We can check the backend performance, like how well or how soon we are checking, fetching the responses from the server, the model, AI model. Few things we can do. Probably there are multiple tools outside. There is LangGraph, LangChain, which can prepare a model which can test a model. So it depends to organization base how deeply we need to involve. That depends. For our understanding, we keep ourselves to a limited, restricted area about the functionality, about different aspect of the AI tool, whether it is generating proper responses, whether it's throwing any error if we ask a unique questions or any kind of parameters. So we test eventually all of this, but we don't go to very in-depth of the content it generated, about the latency, how the model can be fine-tuned. So that is something is not our area of scope. So this is how we do.
Got it. Understood. Great. So with that, really thank you. And Abhishek, it was great interacting with you and understanding how you use BrowserStack, and also what's your QA strategy looking like into your organization. So any closing thoughts, anything you want to share before we wrap up?
Definitely. So to the overall audience, I would say the one key parameter that we always need to focus on our awareness about the context. What is the context and how well we understand that particular key aspect. If you understand that, you know the fundamentals, definitely you can go through any of the, I would say, a possibility, say, range of complex issues. So awareness is the essential key element for any of the QAs to work on in today's criteria.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. Thank you so much, Abhishek, once again for coming in and sharing your thoughts. Audience, I hope you found this discussion useful. And in case you want to explore BrowserStack or explore all the QA strategies which Abhishek mentioned, feel free to do that. And in case you want to explore BrowserStack, you can simply go on to the BrowserStack website and try out BrowserStack products. So with that, let me stop sharing my screen and we can wrap up. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.